Hi and welcome back to Bill's Cichlid room. Today there's a couple of things I'd like to talk about. The first thing being the Northwest Cichlid Group's upcoming event on Sunday the 4th of July. A quick update on that. The second thing is it's coming up to 12 months since I reset up the fish room, so talk a little bit about that and what I've changed along the way. And the third thing is it's 6 months since I put my first video on YouTube, so have a quick chat about that and sort of try and plan what I'm trying to do with the channel. As I mentioned in the previous video, the Northwest Cichlid Group are planning an event on Sunday the 4th of July in Rainford in St Helens and Merseyside. We were hoping that the restrictions were going to be lifted on the 21st of June, so it would be a normal auction like we've had in the past, the last one being March last year. But with the government guidelines extending it now to the 19th of July, it's not going to be possible. So what we've decided to do, it is going to be a table sale similar to the one at Greater Manchester. I think we've sold, well, we've got about 10 tables actually that people have said that they'd like at the moment. Obviously me and my wife Steph have got one. Rick from Predator Aquatics has got one. Mal Rimmer, who's owns the new aqua store in Southport, he's got one, and a few other people, I'm not too sure, so it should be a really good day out. Pity it's not an auction, but let's make the best of it. Here's a clip of some of the things that I'm planning to put in, the Central American and some of Steph's like Malawi cichlids. There's going to be filters, lights, there's normally people there with frozen food, dried food, flake food, pellets, lots of different things. Although it's a cichlid group, what we decided to do a couple of years ago was open it up so it's not just cichlids and catfish anymore. It's lots, any type of tropical fish really. So I'm sure there'll be live bearers there, community fish. Yeah, pretty much the same as what was at Greater Manchester. So hope to see you there Sunday the 4th of July at Rainford Ex-Services Club in Rainford, St Helens on Merseyside. Here's the leaflet there with the address on and all the details. Yeah, so it's coming up to 12 months now since I decided to restart up the fish room. As I've mentioned on previous videos, I started off with the 3 tanks down the bottom here, did the 3 tanks on top, and then before too long filled up the other ones. When I had the fish room going about 10 years ago, I actually had it on a centralised system, which, if you'd noticed any of the videos I've done at the tanks, they are all drilled. So what I've used to plug up the drill pipes, it's a bit of PVC pipe with the bottle top in it to stop the water going out. Yeah, so I had it was on 2 centralised systems, one for the tanks on this side, which is where I used to keep the Central American cichlids, so I used to keep the pH slightly above 7. And then the ones on this side was where I kept all the South American cichlids, so I used to keep the pH just below 7. It was 2 separate systems, so the maintenance of the tanks was very, very easy. All I had to do was siphon water out of the sump, and I had it automatically filling up straight from the mains, going through a filter system and straight back into the tanks. So I only really had to use the siphon pipe like once every couple of weeks to get rid of any rubbish that was left in the tank that hadn't gone down the overflow pipe. And I used to heat the room as well, so that I didn't have to have heaters in individual tanks. What I decided to do this time, because I've actually only set up half the fish room, it's just this row here. There is another row identical to this behind it, and then over in the corner there's lots of little tanks and a couple of 4-foot tanks that I used to have running, but I've not set them up this time. So what I decided to do first off is I was using some of the old internal filters that I had, like the Fluval. This is a Fluval 2, and a load of Fluval 4s. And I individually heated all the tanks. quickly ran out of plug sockets and was worried about the electricity cost, so I quickly moved over onto sponge filters, and the pump you can see in the back actually runs the air round the room and it drives all the sponge filters, but I have still got individual heaters in the tanks. The reason why I mention this really is I've been having conversations with a few friends lately about maintenance of tanks. As I mentioned before, when it was a centralised system, the maintenance was dead easy. It used to take me 10 minutes, quarter of an hour a week to do. There was about 40 or 50 tanks I had going at the time. Doing it this time, I've only got 18 tanks set up down here and there's 2 in the living room. And doing a weekly water change, it takes me between 2.5 and 3 hours. So you might wonder why I haven't set up the other half of the room. If I'm not going to do it on a centralised system, which I don't really want to, I'll go into that in a later video why I decided not to do it this time. But if it's taking me 2.5 to 3 hours just to do this row, you're looking at 5 or 6 hours a week just in water changes and simple sponge filter maintenance, and it's a lot of time. So doing it the way I'm doing it at the moment, it's manageable. I normally do it on a Saturday or Sunday morning. Start about 9 o'clock and I'm finished by 12 o'clock-ish. You can carry on doing what you want for the rest of the day. But it is something to bear in mind. The other change that I've made since I set up the fish room again last year was the lights. I was using individual fluorescent lights. Again, I was worried about the electricity costs, so I moved over onto the LEDs. I don't know whether you can make them out. They actually come on a strip, so I've got 3 strips, which is all the lighting I'm using down here. They cost about £20 for a strip from Screwfix. With them being LED, they are low energy consumption, so they're quite efficient. What else can I tell you? Sort of monitoring the electricity bills the best I can. I'm reckoning it's costing me about £60 a month to have these tanks running. Again, if I doubled up, you're looking at £120 a month. So 5 or 6 hours maintenance a week and £120 a month in electricity bills. I think I'll try and keep it to what I've got for the time being. That's about it. If you got any comments or questions or anything you'd like me to go through further, just pop me a message in the comments. Yeah, and we see where the fish room goes from here. The last thing to talk about really is what you're watching, the YouTube channel. I set it up in between Christmas and New Year last year. Posted my first video. Petrified to speak on it, petrified to appear in front of the camera, so I didn't. It was a video on the Neotropolis, and I just used captions to try and get across what I was trying to say. Quite enjoyed it, was surprised, managed to get a few subscribers and yeah, some views. Put another one up quickly. Joined a couple of Facebook groups, like aquatic YouTubers and YouTubers UK, which got a load of helpful information. Made quite a lot of friends as well through the YouTube channel. A couple of YouTube channels that I was watching myself. After I started gaining a little bit of traction, a couple of people contacted me, I contacted them, and yeah, I've got some really good friends now, Big Fish Lad being one of them, and he's helped me out an awful lot. Tells me when my videos are crap, and tells me what I'm doing, that's quite good. Yeah, without I'd be lost. It is quite difficult every week trying to think of things to say. I did have a couple of videos planned for the next couple of weeks, but unfortunately with Max Cichlid's closing and selling his business, the import on that one obviously didn't happen. I know Rick at Predator Aquatics, he is hoping to get one together for Tangled Up in Cichlids over the next couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to having some new fish in the fish room before too long. Again, what I always do when I get new fish, if it's fish that I haven't kept before or fish I've not kept for a while, I do a lot of research. I've I've got a lot of books in my library. There must be about 40 or 50 books I've got going back since I first started in the hobby about 40 years ago. So whenever I get a new species, or it's a species I've not kept before, or one that I've not kept for a while, I do my research, I read up on it, make sure I know all the basics that I need to, and then like study the fish and actually learn about it. So what I decided to do on the YouTube channel is the information that I was relearning, if you like, do a quick video on it, a species profile. The other thing I've tried to do with the video, as you've probably gathered, I do enjoy breeding the fish. So it's sort of how I get along. It's almost like an aquarium adventure really on the cichlid room, and what I've got going on, what I'm trying to breed, any successes or failures that I have, and yeah, just trying to share some of the knowledge that I've got, and obviously learning new knowledge along the way. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying doing it. 6 months in, I've got just over 150 subscribers, which isn't a massive amount, but it's probably 150 more than I thought I would have. I've got about 35 videos up there at the moment. I've decided trying to do more than one a week is a little bit difficult, so I'm just trying to stay on one a week, and what I'm trying to do towards the end of every month is a video blog. One of the reasons is just to document what I'm doing myself really, because it is quite interesting. I watched the one that I did in February a couple of days ago, and yeah, it is really interesting to watch, see how the fish have grown, see how they've paired off, see what successes I've had, see like the growth of the youngsters, see how fast or how slow they grow, and yeah, I'm quite enjoying it. The other thing, as you've probably already gathered from this one, I am quite active in the local club scene. I'm the club secretary of the North West Cichlid group, and Steph's the treasurer, and we've been in the club for, it must be about 20 years now. Although I come out of the hobby, really I only had one fish tank going, we still kept going to the clubs every month. We still help run the auctions, and yeah, to any news that's going on in the North West Cichlid group, I hope you don't mind me mentioning it, and yeah, you never know, we might get some new members, and some new people coming along to the auctions, or as it is this time, the table sale. So that's about it really. I'll do a monthly video blog next week. I've already got some footage of some things that's been going on this month, a couple of interesting bits and bobs, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks for watching.